Hey everybody, Daniela here with another video. So recently I've been watching Crash Course Games, which I've actually been enjoying. I didn't originally start watching it, but I just thought it sounded interesting, and I kind of like how it's a nice mix of pop culture as well as a little bit of history regarding games in general. And it was kind of cool for me hearing about some of the games I used to play when I was younger. So I thought I would talk a little bit about games and some of the games I like to play. I probably played like a few different board games growing up. I actually really like board games and card games. Although I feel I don't always really play games very often. Yesterday I actually hung out with my boyfriend and two of his friends, and we had game night where we played Settlers of Catan. And if you haven't heard of that game, I've really only played it myself 2 times, and I watched some people play it a couple years ago, but it's a pretty fun game. The concept is all of you are kind of settlers on this little island called Catan, and you're trying to build roads and settlements and earn the most points to win the game. And then one unique thing about the game board is that you've got all these different tiles that you kind of arrange to make the game board, and so every time you play, you can have a different version of the game. Yeah, so that's a pretty fun game. What are some other board games I like? I used to really like Sorry a lot. Played Monopoly a little bit, although, believe it or not, it's not really one of my favorite games. But I also really love card games, so I've actually got 2 here. Here's Phase 10 and the classic Uno. Those are definitely 2 of my favorite card games. I used to play Uno all the time when I was a kid. Would play it, you know, just with my family, and I loved how the cards looked, like the different colors and the numbers and just, I don't know, just the writing in general. And that was always really fun to play, and when I got this one, it's actually like the 40th anniversary edition, so the cards look like they used to when I played them as a kid, because some of the ones have changed more recently. And it's a pretty straightforward game, so, you know, young kids can play it, adults enjoy it as well. And then Phase 10 is a game that I first started playing probably when I was in college, and it describes itself as a rummy type of game. So I guess the objective of that is, with Phase 10, there's 10 different, I guess, phases, or that's what they call them, of categories or groups of cards that you're trying to get to set down. So for example, Phase 1 says 2 sets of 3, so your goal is to get 2 sets of this, you know, 3 of the same card. So you might get 3 threes and 3 fours, and then you're eventually trying to get rid of all our cards. And that was a pretty straightforward game too. And it's pretty easy to play in, you know, small groups. If there's just 2 of you, you can play in larger groups. And actually, back in the fall, I helped back Hank Green's Kickstarter. He's trying to start with a friend, DFTBA Games, and they're gonna have a card game called Wizard School. And I thought, that sounds pretty cool. So, not sure when that's coming, but, you know, as a Harry Potter person, obviously, that was something that interested me. And yeah, I like board games, but I don't know, I think I kind of like different kinds of card games too. Not sure which I like better, but I just really like the idea of tabletop games in general and just being able to get together with people. And while I love technology and I love the internet, there's something about just classic games, like tabletop games, like board games or card games, where you could just sit around a table, being face to face, and then just, you know, using the cards or using little pieces of a game board, something tactile and not just that you're looking at a screen. Yeah, maybe I'll have another game night soon, because I think that's something we could all use more of, more game nights. What are some of your favorite games that maybe you played when you were a kid, or maybe what are some games that you enjoy now? Because, you know, maybe there's some I could add to my little collection that I have. Alright, that's my video for today. Hope you all have had a good weekend, and have a good week.